From Mamamia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Venom.
And I'm Laura Brodnick.
Back together again.
I
feel like I haven't seen you in like a year.
It has been 2 weeks because of our schedules and our sickness.
2 weeks for us is a year.
Yeah, exactly. And look, there were a lot of rumours out there that we were fighting, but we're not, guys. We're back
the
on the pod
rumours that
together.
we ourselves started and perpetuated.
Yes, we started, but we're back today for a very special event.
We've been graced with the presence of 4 major A-listers. And I'm going to list them out for you.
4 superheroes, if you
4
will.
superhero A-listers. So we have Pedro Pascal. We have Vanessa Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
We have Joseph Quinn. We have Ebon Moss-Bachrach. And you might be wondering, what did these 4 individuals have in common? Well, as a Marvel girly, I'll tell you. Because they are starring in the next brand new Marvel Universe Fantastic Four movie.
Fantastic Four first steps. So excited. I've never seen a girl so excited as this young lady right here.
Okay, because Fantastic Four have tried so hard in history. And you know what? I'm a Fantastic Four lover girl. I love Fantastic Four so much, and it's just been getting shit on shit on shit, and I'm like, no.
Okay,
Fantastic
the first 2
Four
movies back in the day with like Jessica Alba.
Okay, Jessica Alba and Chris Evans.
They weren't critically acclaimed.
Amazing.
But they did okay.
Chris Evans is better as Captain America, I must say.
He really found his moment. He found his character.
Loved it. The next one with Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan could have been better.
Can I just say, the director says that the studio ruined it for him, and I choose to believe that. I want his cut.
Okay. I mean, love the cast, but I feel like they went on to do bigger and better things.
Absolutely.
After Fantastic Four. This Fantastic Four, and I don't want any major spoilers because I actually haven't seen it yet. You've seen clips of it.
I am saying I cannot spoil it because I also haven't seen it yet.
You've seen some clips.
Guys, Marvel is wild with their security, let me tell you.
I think the promo for this particular movie has been so good right from the trailer.
Yeah.
Because we watched the trailer and I was like, why does the thing look so lo-fi? Like, what's going on? And then we slowly realized that, oh, this Fantastic Four movie is taking place in, like, the olden days.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day. So they have the... Like, I feel like if you watch the Fantastic Four movies, they look very modern, very cool.
Yeah.
This one looks like they come straight out of the comic books.
Yeah.
Like
From set in the 60s.
The traditional Fantastic Four uniform. It looks so good. The cinematography looks brilliant. And that's just from the trailer.
Yeah.
And you actually went to the big fan event that happened in Sydney.
I did, yeah. So they flew the cast in for
I didn't get an invite.
Can I just say, this is how intense these things are. I did not get a +1. I couldn't take you. I'm so sorry. You know, otherwise I always take you to everything.
Thank you very much.
But it was very intense. We'll get into that because, yeah, it was an experience. But before then, they had a bit of time to flit around in Sydney.
They had a bit of time.
They were I haven't sort of seen this almost since maybe Taylor Swift landed in Australia because from the moment they stepped off a plane in Sydney for the press tour, they were being tracked so intently. There were fans at the airport. There were people like lining the roads to see them. There were so many paparazzi shots of them walking through the airport and getting off the plane. Like no rest from the moment. And they walked, you know how like you get off at the Sydney International Airport, you have to go stand on that big curb and wait for the like.
For
they're just
Ubers.
all standing there.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, put a cover
They're
over
too
them or
famous.
something.
They need to there's another way.
I was like, that's where I get picked up from the
Oh my
international
God.
airport.
They need to find Hugh Jackman's route because that is not the way all celebrities get picked up from our airport. We could have been standing there with them.
We could have been there.
They're connecting
Joseph
flight.
Quinn's carrying his own luggage. I was like, get it together, guys.
That's so funny. All I have to say is I'm so grateful that they didn't go to any of my favorite restaurants.
Oh, yeah. Again, from the Taylor Swift time, you've been burned by this.
You might remember
before.
I was very passionate about Taylor Swift going to my favorite restaurant and then me not being able to get a booking for my birthday.
I feel like you still can barely get a booking there.
I recently went there and that's because I booked it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So that's how my life is panning out from the
Guys,
Taylor Swift thing.
Celebrities cannot come to our favorite restaurants.
And I was even more mad on top of that because I still didn't get a ticket to a concert. She's just here ruining my life and I don't even get to reap the benefits. Anyway,
oh my gosh,
not about that because I was so concerned about this.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to know everything that these 4 individuals have done on their trip in Sydney. And one of the big things they all did, well, 2 of them did that we know of, is they did the Bondi to Coogee. I can't even say it. They did the Bondi to Coogee walk, the hot girl walk, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, I have things to say. Firstly, Vanessa Kirby did the walk with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
look, if I was there in Bondi, I would have just passed her and not even realized, because she encapsulated the Bondi look. She had her little like black hot pants. She had a little black walking bra, like her little belly, pregnant belly was out, like all in black. She looked like a Bondi girl, like doing a hot girl walk. She had a phone in her hand. She had an Apple Watch in her other hand.
Yeah, she was all over it.
She knew what she was doing. Then we had Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. That poor sweet man.
I don't think he was properly briefed.
Where he was going. Yeah.
Or even what the walk was.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe told he was going to have like a stroll along the beach side.
That he was going down to look at the beach on like the road, and then he was going to a cafe or something. Yes. That's the outfit he had on.
And you know what? That's fair, because I've had relatives from overseas who've been recommended to do the Bondi to Coogee walk. And then they've come back angry at us because they're like, you didn't tell us it was like this massive hike. We thought we were going to the beach, so we all wore sandals and we all wore our swimwear, and now we're chafing, we're injured.
Yeah, because if you're not from Sydney, like that walk is spectacular, but
like,
it's
a walk.
It's not a hard hike or anything like that. When people say they're going for a hike, I'm like, are you going for a hike or are you doing the Bondi to Coogee? Because that's embarrassing if you're calling that a hike. But you do walk along some rocks. You walk up many wet steps. There's a few hills. Like, you've got to at least have some runners and like your active wear on. It
is a walk. I don't think Pedro's team got the brief. Yeah. He looks very good. So
he looks hot, yeah.
He's wearing his green Adidas Sambas.
Yeah.
I know
that doesn't have. Can I just say that those shoes were not going to have the right traction for those slippery steps that you have to go up. There's no railing on one side.
With those shoes, you feel every single rock under them.
Imagine if Pedro Pascal, international treasure, came to Sydney and wasn't briefed and then slipped down the steps and hurt himself.
Oh my God, the Bondi steps.
On our watch.
No. And if it was the Bondi steps, he'd still be falling till this day.
Yeah,
he's still there. It's a big staircase.
Yeah. He's still there.
He's still there. He missed the premiere completely. He's also wearing the whitest pants I've ever seen.
I know. You just know that those weren't nice by the end of the walk.
No, and he's wearing like this beige like coat. It is cool here in Sydney. But he looks like he should be in a scene in Big Little Lies as Nicole Kidman.
Yes, he should be staring wistfully at the ocean on a cliff, not doing that walk.
Which kind of makes sense why Vanessa Kirby opted to walk behind him.
Oh yeah,
with her husband.
Usually when they're together, they're hugging the whole time. Yes. I think they got to the walk and she's like, I'm gonna hang back.
Yes, because she wants to fit in, and he very much is not fitting in. These are paparazzi shots, so we're not going to post them. But in every single shot, there's no beach in sight.
Yeah.
It's like they saw his outfit and they're like, oh, we can't put that in sand.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to walk. He's walking in the park. He's walking on grass. He's walking on footpaths. It could be anywhere, but supposedly it's Bondi.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly it's Bondi. I do want to talk about all of their outfits in general.
Oh, sure.
Because I was looking at because even though I didn't get a ticket to the fan event, I did get, I very kindly got emailed all the photos of what I was missing out.
Can I say, that happens to me as well. Sometimes I'll be like, hi, this amazing event happened last night. Here's all the photos. I'd love you to run a piece. I'm like, you know what's worse than not inviting someone to a party? Not inviting them and the next day sending them a press release and a specific email with your name in it saying how good it was.
Like, here's what you missed. Let me know if this is good enough for this film. Like, it's not. I didn't get to go. But the photos of them in front of the Opera House, which every single celebrity does, it's like the most iconic like celebrity photo shoot to do outside the Opera House. Their outfits are incredible. They know they are the most good-looking cast in history.
And they obviously, because we know they have a group chat, it's called ABBA, because they were trying to pick like famous fours throughout history. So I feel like they did talk in the group chat, because the thing about, I won't out where celebrities stay, even though I feel like people know. There's one very fancy hotel on the harbour where all visiting celebrities stay. And when we the media go to interview them, it's always set up in a specific spot so that when you interview them, you can see the Opera House behind them, because I think they flew them to Sydney and they want to prove that they're in Sydney. They're like, look at the Opera House, it's right there. And the cast always like has a break from press and goes out in separate outfits and does their photos in front of the Opera House. And sometimes they all come out and you can just tell that no one had spoken beforehand around what they were wearing, because some people are all dressed up in a gown, some people are like in very chill clothes, they have clashing patterns and colors, but this one they were all very synced up.
Very, very synced up. I mean, I wish they had this in foresight before they did the Bondi walk.
Yeah.
But I felt like
chat wasn't firing.
The group chat, nothing was happening in there. But I feel like these photos, like the professional photos, come out really well. So was the all the photo shoots, did this happen before the premiere?
Yeah, so they had, from what I know from tracking them the way I was,
oh, yes.
both the moments I was with and the moments I wasn't. Yes, they flew into Australia. They did the Bondi to Coogee walk. I'm assuming they went out and about and saw other things under cover of night and darkness because we don't have pictures of that. They were at their hotel. They did press over 2 days, which is also, usually it's all in one day.
Yeah.
They did press over 2 days and they did the fan event on the Tuesday night. And then they zipped around Sydney sometime in between.
Busy.
But those particular photos you're talking about were taken, I believe, on the Tuesday afternoon before the premiere. Okay. And then after I interviewed them, they literally went to the airport and they were out of here.
Oh, my God. So, okay, tell me about the premiere.
Okay. It was bananas.
Was it?
Wild.
Because it's like we have different types of premieres here in Australia. We have premieres that are like world premieres, like Wicked.
Yeah.
We have like Australian premieres where it's like the first time showing in Australia. We have just early screenings.
Yes.
Where you just get like your little popcorn. You're like, here you go, watch the movie. But this was like one of those combined premieres plus a fan event.
Yeah, so they've been doing a few worldwide fan events. The premiere is still coming. Like, we haven't even seen those looks and those pictures because we were quite early in the international press run. So, like, this is the whole thing's just starting. So just strap in for that. So this was a fan event where they couldn't show the movie because, you know, Marvel, lock and key, all that sort of stuff. But they were having the cast here. So it was a chance for fans and media to see the cast. So got to the entertainment quarter, which is where they always set up those huge, like, because it's outside and not in the city where they sometimes have premieres, you can set up this huge long carpet so they can do this full press thing.
It's a bigger space.
They always have these huge barricades and fans can come and line up on either side. And this is one of those events where they put the call out to fans like a week in advance and say the cast is going to be here. This place, I have nearly been killed many times before.
I've had a whole tray of drinks fall on me at this place. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have been on that carpet with huge superstars. In fact, it's mostly for Marvel. Like, I've been on that carpet before with the cast of like the Avengers or like with Thor with Chris Hemsworth for Thor.
With Thor, my good friend Thor.
My good friend Thor was there. And it is so intense because there's so many people. They've lined up for hours. Sometimes the barricades, I have felt they're about to fall inward and I'm about to be trampled to death. And my death wouldn't even be a blip on the news if one of the Avengers was killed next to me.
That's so true. It felt like that. I can think they also had Bridget Jones's Diaries there as well.
Yeah,
and
it was the same thing with the fans pushing it. So this particular one, huge. There were some people, you know how you and I, when we're at these events and we're walking through and we always look at the people with the signs and stuff and they've got these really hopeful but exhausted eyes. Yeah. Like the people at the Wicked premiere. And we were talking to them in the line and they're like, we've been here for 2 days. There were people at this Fantastic Four event who had been there for over 30 hours. Standing on that barricade. There were people who had driven through the night. They had flown interstate. They had taken time off work. There were people who had been there. So the people for 30 hours had obviously been there the day before, still standing, still holding their signs for 30 hours. And I'm like, I cannot even imagine.
And there you are just strolling in, walking the carpet.
Well, no, it was huge. So like people had signs, everything for the cast members. So like we got there, we went through quite quickly. And then the cast came after us. And it was obviously, and I talk about this in the interviews with the cast because I asked them about that. I think it's one of the most interesting things to ask them. Like, what is it like? Because people were breaking down, sobbing. People were screaming. It was a whole thing. The cast, I've got to say, was super generous with their time. I saw Pedro, Vanessa, Ebon, and Joseph, all of them actually going along the line, taking as many photos as they could, calming people down who were like having like huge breakdowns over meeting with them. It was really beautiful. Obviously, they can't get to everyone, and I did see that there were people sobbing for a different reason. There were people sobbing because they met them, and then there were people sobbing because they had been there for 24 hours. And they had, some of them had like flown, you know, and rented cars and booked accommodation and everything to see the stars. And obviously they can't see everyone. But some people also wait 24 hours just to get a glimpse of them. And they know that's all they're going to get. And they're happy to do that. It's just the power of these fandoms is so incredible. So, Pedro and Vanessa and Joseph and Ebon, like the Fantastic Four, they also spent a lot of time like at the front, like doing all these like photos together, and they just really turned it on. Like they know what the people want. They were all hugging. They stood in a group and they were like all hugging and whispering to each other. And like Pedro was dancing for the crowd and cheering. Like they know what the people want. Yeah. Inside was just like no holds barred with the expense of the event, like crazy, like Marvel and Fantastic Four themed cocktails and treats and all this sort of crazy stuff. And it was so interesting because they came into there was 3 cinemas. That's how many people were there. And it still couldn't get tickets for people.
That's massive. Usually when we're there's like maximum 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they had 3 and it was crazy. So when they came into our cinema, they like walked past me and they all like
I saw that, and I have to talk about your grainy ass.
Oh, come on. No, video. Emily, don't say it's a dark theater. What do you want from me?
It was like you took it on a brick.
I took it on the work phone.
Oh my gosh, that's even
wow.
worse.
This is such a, just so you know, there was actually a bit of contention between Tina Burke and I over like the camera because it zoomed. Pedro came up and he like waved into the camera and said hello to me. And as they went past, like Joseph came over and said hello, like he waved into the camera. Yeah. And I was loving it because I was trying to get the content for work, but I also had my head down because I'm like, don't look at me, I'm going to interview you tomorrow and I don't want you to think I'm a crazy fan. But yeah, also Emily, just on that, they're walking through a theater. It's dark. I tried to get content for the Spillers. We posted it on our pages. Mm-hmm. What would you have done?
Well, as my background is social media, I think I would have done a better job. But that's all I'm just saying. This is just my call out for Marvel. Like, if you wanted a good video, I was available, ready to be behind the camera. I could have gotten you with them.
All right. Well, I did what I could in the moment. Okay. And they were just, they got up and they went into every different cinema and did like a little chat and everything. And they just seemed really overwhelmed. It's so funny because Pedro walked into the cinema and he looked around and everyone is screaming and losing. And these are media. So it was like, this isn't even the fans that were outside because most of them couldn't come in. But everyone at our cinema was losing their minds. And Pedro goes, nice theater. Yeah, nice theater. Nice. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he was expecting.
Very well done.
He just wanted to say something really lovely. And then he had this like beautiful white shirt that was like also a bit see-through. So you could like prominently see his nipples, which was so hot. And then people were comparing him to like the scene in Pride and Prejudice when Colin Firth jumps in the lake and his top is see-through.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? This man just knows what the world wants from him.
He is stunning.
And as he walked out, he was trying to say goodbye and hello to as many people. That's the thing. Like they're trying to say hello to as many people as they can. They were really cute.
I probably would have passed out if he looked me in the eye the way he looked you in the eye.
Did you see how he came so close to the camera that I didn't even have time to zoom?
He came so close in the camera that you just see his like
you just see his
shirt.
You just see the see-through shirt.
Like, that's what I mean. Like you didn't even move back with the camera. You just like
I didn't have time. All of a sudden, guys, I cannot tell you what it's like when all of a sudden Pedro Pascal is coming towards you so close. We were so close, our hands nearly touched.
Oh my God.
And I was seated and I had, you know what I'm like in a premiere?
Yeah,
and
5 wines.
I had 3 glasses of wine next to me because also we had to wait for nearly an hour for them to come. They spent so long doing the carpet to wait in the theatre for nearly an hour. So yeah, I had 3 wines. And a popcorn and a choc top.
Oh my God.
And he looked down at oh my God, Pedro Pascal looked at all my wines and he didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything.
He was like, this girl's not doing
dry.
Yeah. He was like, this girl's not doing dry July. I'm not going to comment on that. So yeah, very intense event.
I know.
And then
the next day you had to interview them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, did I sleep that night? No. So I got to the junket, which is when they have visiting talents, this whole thing. Everyone's in this fancy hotel. You've got to, check in, then you've got to go upstairs and it's this whole thing of like, you wait in this room, then you wait in this room, then you sit in the chair and the person in the chair is the next one going in and you get timed from the moment you walk in the door. And it's very quick turnaround. So you have a very short window of time. And for us, it's so nerve-wracking because some journalists go in there just getting something for social. But for us, it's like we've got to get enough for a podcast, articles, social. And so it's a very intense experience. But my first interview of the day was with Joseph and Ebon, who play Johnny Storm and
The Thing.
Yeah, I was going to say Ben. I don't know what his second name is.
Yeah.
Who in the film play Johnny Storm and The Thing.
Yeah.
And obviously they come from very beloved fandoms from The Bear and Stranger Things respectively. Yeah. They've both obviously done so many other like big blockbuster movies or TV shows. So they have this huge fandom.
I have a question because I know you've seen like little clips of the film.
Yeah, so at the screening, that's the other thing. They can't show the whole movie. So they showed it was actually nearly 30 minutes of just different clips from the movie. It looks incredible.
Do you think we get a good amount of screen time of Ebon just looking like Ebon?
Yeah, definitely, because they show some. Well, again, I haven't seen the movie, but they showed clips of like the Fantastic Four when they're all astronauts going up into space, how they get their powers. So I think you get some clips of him as Ebon, but you also get a lot of him in like the full kind of rocks looking thing. Right. But they chose him because they wanted that character, because he's going through a lot. Like he's had this, not just does he have powers like the rest of them, but he has this huge physical transformation, and he's the only one of the Fantastic Four who can't kind of blend into society with his powers. Every time he steps outside, it's like that's him. And so they wanted a character that could convey a lot of emotion through the special effects, which is why they picked Ebon, and I think he does a really good job of that.
So you interviewed first Joseph and Ebon. This is the interview. I'm so excited to listen.
Well, it is so lovely to meet you both, and there's so much excitement for this film. And I wanted to start by asking you both, I think there's a bit of a misconception that sometimes people come to these movies because they want to see the action sequences or the stunts, but real fans know we come because we're so invested in the characters and we need to care about them. So I wanted to ask you both, what is the most compelling thing about your characters in the movie that is separate to the superhero powers that they have?
Okay. Compelling character traits.
All the stories that you're trying to tell that's more about their humanity and the way they connect with each other.
I think there's something quite aspirational about Johnny. There's a kind of longing that he has, a fascination that he has with space, of like maybe looking for answers in some way. I think he's very kind and loyal, and I think that loyalty is shown in the film.
He's a bit of a searcher, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
How about Ben?
Yeah, Ben also, again, like loyalty is something that I've really sort of latched on to with him. I don't know, so much of his internal state is because of what's happened to him, so it's hard to separate those things out. But yeah, there's a patience there, I think.
Oh, that's lovely. And also something we see with your character that we've seen from the fan snippets that have been released is he has a bit of a love story, and we're getting to see that side of his life. Can you give us a little sneak peek of how that's going to unfold in the movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
No.
I thought I'd shoot my shot because from the fan screening last night, that was one of the biggest cheers that came up for the audience.
Oh,
I
really?
felt it was my duty to ask you.
Oh, that's nice. No, you
I
thought
understand.
you caught me after lunch. You thought my guard was going to be down.
Yes, I did.
I've been through some rigorous media training. No, just kidding. No, I haven't.
You're a vault. I understand. Yeah. And speaking about the fan event last night, which was the energy there was just incredible.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
I was talking to some of the people. Some of them had lined up for 30 hours to see you come down the carpet. They had traveled interstate, taken time off work, were quite emotional seeing you. And I know you've both spoken about how grateful you are for the fandom of this movie, but what is that moment like when you're interacting with people? Is there a sense of sort of responsibility to give them that moment that they've built up?
There's certainly a feeling of, there's a reverence for their time and a gratitude for their support for the film. You feel responsible. You're just mindful of that you've got to be careful with people's enthusiasm and their investment. We spent a lot of time hanging out with everyone last night and like signing stuff, and that's lovely. But I think more than like having a responsibility for you have a responsibility to look after that moment, I suppose. Yeah, that's a very non-answer.
I feel responsibility 100%. I feel like these, I don't take that adoration. That I don't take any of that personally. That's not about me. That's about this family of this Marvel's first family that's been around since 1961, and people have this relationship to that and this excitement about seeing us do this thing, and I feel like I honor that moment so much, and I try to. Meet the fans there and sort of join hands with them on my own sort of like excitement about sharing this thing,
Yes, and I think that very much was the vibe last night. People seem very grateful for your time. And I think people are also just loving seeing the four of you interact at these press events and at these premieres. And I know how closely you've worked together behind the scenes, bringing this story to life. And so in that, what is the most interesting or surprising thing that you learned about each other when working on this project and spending all those long days on set?
What's the most interesting? I learned about Ebon's taste, how he's very smart and very well read. I trust his opinion on matters of art, cuisine, and things like that. So yeah, I learned about that.
That's really lovely.
Yeah, I don't know what's surprising. I feel like I know Joe so well at this point. Yes. It's just like I feel like I've known him forever. So I don't know, like what. I just like adore this guy. He's such a deeply talented actor, and such a lovely person to get to hang out with so much.
Pedro was telling everyone last night that you were quite the chaos demon he was saying behind the set and said it on stage. Do you care to comment on that?
Yeah, when you point a finger at somebody, you got 3 fingers pointed back at yourself.
Right.
That's all I would say.
Okay, I will ask him about that when I go and talk to him now.
I get it.
Guys, I just need to... Emily's watched that interview just then for the first time, and she just made a gun with her finger and looked down at it with such a confused face. I didn't know what you were doing. Did you not get... I've never heard that before. Tell the this is a podcast, you have to tell them what you just did.
When Ebon said, when you point a finger at somebody, you have 3 pointed back at yourself. I didn't understand what that meant until I physically...
You just made your hand into a little gun and you looked out. Yeah, because 3 fingers point back at you.
But your thumb's pointing to the god, so...
Yeah.
He's also in it.
The funniest thing, so then I know that sounded like hectic in a way that I'm talking quite fast, even though I do it all the time. And it's quick, but you have such a limited time with them. And there's so many no-go areas about all of their personal life, which obviously, but also about the movie. And that's why a lot of Marvel interviews are either very, with all of the cast, over like the decades that they've been making these movies, are either very erratic and they're talking crazy, or they're being very subdued because they're just not allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because when you go into these rooms, it's this whole big set where the talent's sitting up on a stand and you walk up and you sit on the chair opposite them, all these lights and cameras and things, and then you go down behind the like partition and you have to wait for a few seconds after your interview's finished, but you're out of sight from the talent, to have the film crew hand you the tapes with your interview. So I'm standing there waiting to get my tapes and I hear Ebon go, "Chaos demon, chaos demon. Pedro called me a chaos demon?" And he's so shocked. And I wanted to yell back. I wanted to stick my head back around the petition and say, "He said it on stage when you were there. The clips are everywhere."
Oh my God.
He wasn't saying it behind your back.
What was really funny about those interviews is that your questions were so good.
Oh, thank you. It's so stressful because you have literally
I feel
no
like
time.
it really took them by surprise. Like some of them were like, they were like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." Or like, and I'm like, and I know like in that moment you're on a time limit, and every time they kept pausing, I was like, "Come on,
pick it up." I nearly, you can see my hand tapping on my leg a bit in the video because I'm like, "Boys, step it up.
Come on,
I've got 2 minutes left.
Let's go. Give me anything, one thing. Come on."
But they were very, I should say, maybe they sound a little standoffish in the clip there because they're very kind of low-spoken men. They're a bit gruff. They're both looking down a lot. I should say, when I walked into the room, they both stood up and shook my hand, and Ebon's like, "Nice to meet you. I'm Ebon." Joseph's like, "Hello, so nice to meet you. I'm Joseph." So that is really nice because a lot of celebrities don't even do that. Like they'll walk in, they'll be like, they won't even look at you until the camera starts.
Yeah.
So I sometimes think that moment of like looking you in the eye, shaking hands,
that is
like
nice.
We're both human beings. We're both at work, which is what I also find when celebrities treat you bad. I'm like, I'm at work. You're not allowed to be mean to people at work.
Also, Joseph could be going through something. We've seen like photos of Doja Cat with her new boyfriend.
Emily, don't bring that up.
So you never know. Like celebrities are people too.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that, I think he's often like, Joseph especially skewers more to being like, I'm a serious actor kind of vibe. So I think the questions he liked the most, I saw his eyes kind of change.
All of his interviews, even with casts and stuff, are all like, he comes across very serious.
He's a sensitive boy.
Yeah, it's quite attractive.
So I did that, and then I walked out of one room and I walked straight into the next room, which contained Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal. And so I walked into the room. They're sitting up on a platform. I walk over to them. They're both super lovely. As I walk into the room, they're sitting together on these chairs, and Pedro's arm is wrapped around Vanessa.
Oh my God,
and
my
it
dream.
Pretty much stayed there. I know, she's living the dream. She's a beautiful, talented movie star. And Pedro Pascal is obsessed with her. And I also think
he's obsessed with like every single person he works with.
Oh, no, I know. But I think this is particularly, like this bond is particular. And I also know he says he sometimes like to, because he gets nervous in interviews, he sometimes likes to be like holding or touching his co-star if he's close with them, because it gives him a sense of like an anchor in the moment, which I get. And I feel like he was very chatty, but I've got to say, Pedro Pascal, a shy, sensitive man. And I almost kind of relate in a way because I feel like he's in his element walking down the red carpet and seeing all the fans and waving and smiling, because it's like he's performing to the masses and he's quite removed. But I sometimes feel like sometimes in an interview or with a smaller setting, he can kind of come across like quite nervous. And I did feel that in the moment. So he was holding on to Vanessa.
He's spoken about how he does have like social anxiety in like crowds and stuff like that. So if you do see him on red carpets or even in like those big like stage productions and stuff, if he has a female co-star near him, he'll always be holding their hand. And I think they know, like there's been so many times where you see them also like grab his hand. Like there's this video of Vanessa Kirby where they're on a red carpet and she like takes his hand out of his pocket and like holds it. And I think it's such a nice thing to do for someone when you know how they feel in those situations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the whole thing. So he's holding on to her. They both say hello to me and shake my hand. Yes, this hand has touched Pedro Pascal. I have not washed it. Obviously, I have. I sanitize it all the time. But
you do sanitize all the time.
It's there. Can I tell you one thing that makes all of this just so awkward for me personally? Like it looks so glam from the outside. But again, you're up on this raised platform. So the talent sit there and you have to walk up these little rickety stairs onto this platform and sit in your chair. For a normal sized human, lovely, wonderful. You slip into the chair. For me, because I'm so tall, they often have to move all the cameras and mics, but that takes up my interview time. So instead of gracefully sitting down, I have to do a weird dip and bob, which I've perfected over the years in junket setting. And I have to go, hi, nice to meet you. I'm just gonna, and then I have to do this weird thing and plop myself in the camera and then jerk my head back so that I don't hit my head on the cameras. And so every interview starts with me doing that.
Oh my God. I love that.
I said to them, and I say to everyone, like, I'm so sorry, tall girl problems. Like, I just have to. And Vanessa Kirby, who's also very tall, she's like, I get it, you're good. And then we started the interview and it was emotional.
Okay, here it is.
Okay. Well, it's so lovely to meet you both. And I think something that we've really loved seeing from the promotion of this movie and the press tour is this bond that the whole cast has. So I wanted to start by asking, what was the most interesting thing that you learned about each other on the long days filming this movie?
You hush. You hush.
Oh, I feel like you need to say something. This is a safe space.
She said, look, yes, I am a grump.
No.
I'm a grump.
Oh.
No, listen, the only reason
Doesn't
I
make me a
laugh
bad
is
person.
Because, no, it doesn't. Because if
I was
if
the least grumpy on this.
On what, this press tour?
No, on the movie.
On which movie?
On Fantastic
Oh,
Four.
I think Avengers. No. The only reason I laugh is because look at his smile.
Yes.
He doesn't fucking stop
beautiful.
smiling. He never stops smiling. And about, I would say 6 p.m, if we go into overtime, then he gets a little bit snappy. A bit cranky. But that's lasts about an hour and then it passes.
I'm going to tell the truth.
And then he
here.
FaceTimes me.
I'm going to tell the absolute truth here. We had to do these like promo things. We were shooting all day long.
Yeah, and we shot all week. It was long. The longest days. It's like 18 hours.
And Joe and Vanessa, they were popping off about the fact that we were going to have to.
Like, we're exhausted.
We're exhausted. She's pregnant, and the whole thing. And they get me all worked up. They get me all worked up, and my protective vibes get going.
Yeah,
and then we get my shackles are up and everything like that. And then we get there, and I'm ready to like make it just go as fast as possible. And then the two of them are like, well, why don't we try it like this? Or why don't we try it like that?
You're just
Can we have another
professional.
go? Or let's talk about this a little bit longer. And then
and he turned into a snappy turtle.
A snappy turtle.
Wow.
And you said, don't get snappy with me.
I feel like I've got an exclusive here.
With my finger. With my finger like that.
Speaking of this interaction, fans loved seeing you on the red carpet at the fan event last night. I was talking to them. People had been waiting for 30 hours to see you. They travelled. They were bursting into tears when they saw you. What is that moment like? And is there anyone in the industry that you've met that you would have that reaction to, that you would be that starstruck?
There are a couple of people that I don't think I'd be able to. I wouldn't have been able to have met.
Yeah.
I couldn't have met Tina Turner. I couldn't have met Prince. I couldn't have.
No.
I couldn't have.
No.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
I would have
I
melted.
suppose it's silly because
that
we're all
emotional
human beings,
response.
but there are certain
You would
people
have got
I made my
speechless,
religion.
you?
Yeah,
You would have got
Can't
speechless.
help it. Sort of an early imprint in life.
You
Yes.
meet the king the other day, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. We
Oh.
had a lovely convo with him. He was very chill.
Yeah.
The Spice Girls for me when I was younger.
Yes.
If I'd have met the Spice Girls, I don't know what I would have done.
Oh, I met Mel C the other day and I couldn't say anything.
You see,
I'm
still.
still thinking about I
He's
understand.
still got this mythological Amazing.
Exactly. And I wanted to ask you a bit both about the evolution of your careers because, Vanessa, when you came to Australia in 2017, you were so generous with your time. You came into your office, to our office.
I remember it exactly.
Do you really?
The white doors.
Yes.
The big, tall white doors.
I was not expecting you to remember. That
I
was
remember
so
it.
long ago. You came into our office. You and I did a Facebook Live on a tiny camera
I
on these
remember
tiny
this.
chairs. Oh my God,
when you
really?
walked in, my brain went, oh, I thought, I don't want to say in case you're like, no.
Oh my gosh. No, I was
There's
not
lots of white
expecting you to
doors,
remember.
right?
Yes. And for months after that, we called it the Vanessa Kirby chair. But I remember at the time you speaking about, after we did our podcast together, the stories that you wanted to tell and the characters that you wanted to play in your career. And now seeing you go from that huge moment to this moment, what has been the kind of most, I guess, surreal moment in your career that you thought, I can't believe this is happening?
I actually think to do with this movie, the fact that I'm sitting here next to one of my favorite people in my life.
Oh.
No, I actually get emotional thinking about
Yeah.
it because that is something that I had almost, now I am actually welling up. I had accepted that you're not always going to find your best friends on things. You know what I mean? Like you might find it when you do theatre when you were younger, and on The Crown we definitely had that. And I've loved everyone I work with.
Oh.
But this is something else. This is a lifelong, very deep, very and I think maybe it's the magic of the comics and maybe Matt Shackman's casting that he's put us together.
I thought you said matcha.
Matcha. My favourite thing in the world is matcha, and they're always on it because I spill it all over them all the time. So, but anyway, but yeah, I think it's, for me, the surreal moment is going into something that has this bigger fan base. Okay.
Yeah.
This bigger fan base, and that has so much love for it already, and we don't have to pretend. We don't have to pretend that we liked the experience. We like each other. We're a family. It's like, no, we actually are. And now we're in Sydney, around the world with you again, sitting here going, oh my God, we're really lucky. And that is a huge, pinch me moment.
I know that's a kind of a quick ending there, but I cannot stress enough how much I was getting wrapped up. I went slightly over, and
they were crying.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I know it's a podcast, so you can't really see exactly what's happening, but we have put the full interview up on the Mamamia YouTube channel, and we've put the clips up on our socials.
Yeah.
So on the Spill podcast on Instagram and on TikTok, and Vanessa started really welling up. Her eyes were so red. Her mouth, you know, like you're trying to cry, your mouth is shaking a bit, and Pedro was getting his eye. I could see behind his glasses as he was talking, like his eyes were welling up.
You can't see it in the video, but then he takes his glasses off and wipes tears away.
And he puts his head down and wipes tears away. And that's when if you're listening back to that audio, when Vanessa goes, "Are you okay?" Like she just stops talking because she's like, he's crying. And you look at me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. It was a lot. And then
I can't believe she remembers you, and
that to me was
Mamamia.
well. So I'll set the story for that. And I was gonna ask that. I meant to ask that question to both of them. That little side thing of me being like, I've met you before. Like I did not think that was 2017. I did not think she was going to remember. So I thought I was going to ask that question to her and Pedro, and I had a whole lead up for Pedro planned as well. But they just really ran with it, and they were crying, and then our time was up. So I think that was also better. But yes, in 2017, Vanessa came to Australia for The Crown. She was playing Princess Margaret. It was her huge breakout role. The Crown was a huge show. But yeah, she came into the old Mamamia office. So not the one we were in before we moved to this one, the one before that, the office we met in.
Yes.
And I wasn't even really
Meet
doing
Cute.
Our Meet Cute happened there too. So many memories in that building. And Vanessa Kirby came into the office and was there for like nearly 3 hours. It was crazy. She came in. She and I hosted a Facebook Live together. Remember that was a thing? We did a Facebook Live.
Oh my God, I remember this.
We did a Facebook Live every day because that's what the platform needed.
Oh my God, how are we not going to
And we
cancel?
were only meant
Facebook Lives are scary.
Well, yeah, it was every day, and again live. We did one, and so I hosted this one with her, and I was barely even working in entertainment then. I think they just needed someone who could talk, and I was like, this gal. And so she came in. We went to a Facebook Live for they were meant to be 5 minutes. We went for nearly half an hour on that Facebook Live because we could not stop talking. The two of us were just like, boop, 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 boop. And then she had a lunch break, and so she had in our office, and so we hung out in her lunch break, and her hair and makeup team were doing her hair and makeup, and we were chatting, and then we went into that little shed thing that we used to have in the office. Again, I can't believe we put Vanessa Kirby in a shed.
I can't believe you had a celebrity guest in the shed.
I know, but we were so new at doing podcasting
Yeah,
and stuff,
I know.
and we just
The shed was new.
Yeah,
It was new
we
for
didn't know
us.
any better.
It was very glam for us.
Yeah,
back
and
then.
so she and I went there. We did a pod, and we just really had the most in-depth, interesting chat. And that really stayed with me. And then that night, Netflix threw like a little party for her. And so I went to that with like a few other journos. And she was so fun. She was like at the bar, just like chugging drinks with us and chatting. And I always remember that day and that like all that time we spent together, but I didn't think she'd remember. And it was actually quite emotional because I mean, they're crying in the interview and then it's over and we stand up. And as I stand up, Vanessa Kirby stands up. And we could have had this beautiful, seamless moment. But do you think in that moment I remembered the freaking microphone and I smashed my head on it? And she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." And then Vanessa Kirby leaned over and hugged me, and she said, "It is so lovely to see you again. I so remember that day, and I thought about it." And then I said to her, "It's so lovely to see you again because I feel like I'm going to cry now. It's so lovely to see you again because I wasn't working in entertainment journalism when why am I crying?
Oh my God, no, I'm going to cry.
I hadn't worked in entertainment journalism. I was just starting to dip my toe in it at the time because I got hired at Mamamia as the weekend editor to like be more news focused. And I just thought that was such a great experience to be able to like watch a show and then talk to the person who's on it and get to like see the creativity and see what they did. And so I went into entertainment journalism full time after that. And so I was really nice to tell her that. Aww. And so we hugged and I told her that. And then I said to her, "Now I do this full time." And then we high-fived. And then Pedro was like clapping for us. And he was like...
I forgot Pedro was there.
And I'm still like, my head's bleeding because I hit it on the mic and it was such a thing. And then I was like, "Elves, it was so nice to meet you." And I walked out and one of the people who was traveling with them, like their head PR person was like, "That was such a good interview." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." I couldn't even say anything. And normally when you walk out of these things, you go and say goodbye to everyone because like everyone in Sydney who works in media is there. Yeah. I just grabbed my bag, I left, and I went around the side of the hotel they were staying in to this like little alleyway that leads into the harbour. Oh, yeah. And I just like burst into tears.
Oh no.
Because I think it was the build up of the whole
so
day.
Beautiful.
And it was the build up of everything. And then I stopped crying, I got no Uber and came to work.
That interview was so like
it was so
amazing.
Short. I can't stress enough how you literally have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, insane.
I can't believe we all just were like Vanessa Kirby, Pedro Pascal, and I having this huge emotional moment in 5 minutes.
It's insane that like they like you moved them so much. You moved me. Like that whole interview was so well done, and I think you talking about what happened in 2017 just like cemented the idea for her that like where she was then compared to where she is now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I brought it up because I didn't want to be self-indulgent. And again, I didn't think she'd remember, but I just wanted to sort of say to her, remember when you just walked into her office on your first job and you and I sat and like with a phone together, and she was really excited because she'd booked this big job and she was like auditioning for other things that she hadn't got yet. And she was sort of saying to me like, I want to do this and I want to do that and all this sort of stuff. And I was just like, look at you. Like, look what you've done. It's incredible. So after all this, the movie is still coming out next week. The premiere is still happening. Yes. We haven't even got to the movie yet. The Fantastic Four First Steps is coming out in cinemas in Australia on July 24. Make sure you see it. We're going to go see it. We're going to be excited. We'll
I hope
see
so.
it, give you our thoughts. I know, give us tickets, please.